Well, welcome to the five-step plan for business continuity. We're going to teach you in about 15 minutes how to be prepared for business succession, emergencies, and opportunities without spending a fortune. The story I'm about to share with you is true. Names have been changed and other specific info has been changed, but this could happen to anyone. Who am I? I'm Bill Black, certified exit planner. I've been helping business owners to prepare and protect their businesses for the last 30 years. I'm also the host and founder of the Exit Coach radio show that's heard on KLAA AM 830 here in Los Angeles on Sundays, and my podcast is heard worldwide on iTunes, the Exit Coach radio show. This story is called Sudden Death. It's a business owner and their family's worst nightmare. I want you to imagine you know George and Pam. They're both age 57. They have two kids, age 27 and 21. They've owned and operated a construction business for the last 25 years, and they've built it up to 60 employees, $7 million in revenues, and have 3 locations. They're considering expansion, and they came to me because they wanted to lock in a key employee. I asked them what their current planning in place is, and they say they have a $1 million life insurance policy. And then Pam expresses concern that they really haven't done much else. This was back on March 1st, 2015. I want you to remember that date. Here's a planning fact that over 85% of U.S. business owners have done little to no planning for business continuity and succession, according to a 2014 PricewaterhouseCoopers Small Business Survey. Little to no planning. On March 16th, 2 weeks after our first meeting, the unthinkable happened. George had a heart attack and died while exercising. Pam called to tell me he always said if anything happens to call you, so we set up a meeting for the next day. What Pam asked me was eye-opening. She asked me questions like, what should I do with the business? Where will I get income? What do I need to do next? And who should I trust? All questions I thought maybe they had talked about at some point in their relationship, but obviously not, because she was asking these questions now. And we knew George's intentions, but not his methods. His intentions were to sell the business to the key employee, pay Pam a wage in the meanwhile, and figure out what to do next and who to trust. Well, we had to figure those out. The methods, though, were how do we sell to a key employee if he has no money? How do we pay Pam a wage if there's no documentation? Where's our step-by-step plan? We had none. And who should we trust? They had a CPA, a lawyer, and an insurance guy. That's all they had, and we didn't know who they should trust. So we did the best we could. We started with selling the business to the key employee. The key employee made a lowball offer because he felt that he had helped grow the business. He should get it at a steep discount. He also couldn't get capital, so he wanted it to be floated as a note to him that she would carry for a long period of time. That wasn't going to fly. We decided to pay Pam a wage in the meanwhile by making her president of the company. And we could only do that because she had already been secretary of the company, so we just elevated her position to president and continued George's salary to Pam. As far as what do we need to do next? Well, we started by creating a plan. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, and so on and so forth. And as far as who we could trust, we interviewed each of the advisors and sorted out the technicians from the trusted advisors, those we could count on to help us and help us take care of this plan immediately and come together as a team. What was missing in their overall planning was instructions, planning instructions, things like living trusts and business continuity instructions, things that would help us know details, funding arrangements like more insurance or having a cash fund set aside for emergencies and opportunities, written agreements between employees and between the business had leased several properties and there were no lease agreements in place, so we didn't have written agreements. There's 3 things we know about business owners. Number 1 is there's no time because they're too busy to plan. Number 2 is that they're mostly thinking about growth, not protection of their business. And third is that they're putting out fires constantly, and that tends to consume their day. So they're tired when they get home and they don't want to talk about things like protecting their business. So we developed something called the 5-step business protection plan. That's essential planning steps for business owners and their family. Step 1 is to set up a living trust. Now, Pam had to agonize in hours of meetings with lawyers and accountants to clear the title of the business and business real estate just so she could sell them. A living trust would have saved that agony and time because assets would have already been transferred. Even a basic living trust from LegalZoom.com for $349 would be better than nothing. So a living trust helps spouses and beneficiaries avoid lengthy and costly asset transfer procedures and court proceedings. Step 2 is to have a written business continuity instructions form. Now this form answers many of the questions that Pam and others had about George's specific intentions for the business and its employees. It takes less than 1 hour to complete, and it's available for $250. That includes two 30-minute phone consultations on our website. We'll tell you how to get that in just a moment. Business continuity instructions are written guidelines for who, how, and what you would recommend to handle the management and disposition of the business. Step 3 is to have adequate life insurance. Now, Pam had $1 million of coverage on George, but $3 million would have been much better. Why? Well, because each million provides about $40,000 of income per year after taxes, and Pam needed about $120,000 per year for her lifestyle. Having more term life insurance would have given Pam more options to sell the business to the employee or others. We've set up a website link to help business owners or their spouses shop and compare life insurance rates without an agent. Step 4 is salary continuation strategy. Pam needed George's paychecks to continue while she sorted things out. Unfortunately, the IRS won't allow for pay to unqualified individuals. Now, I mentioned that in George and Pam's case, she was already the secretary of the corporation, so we were able to make her president. But if you don't have that situation, you need something called a salary continuation plan in the corporate minutes. It's a very simple document that allows for the tax-deductible continuation of your salary to a beneficiary for a period of time. Step 5 is called a stay bonus, and the goal is to prevent key employees from leaving or ruining the company. In our case, the key employee couldn't get access to capital to buy the business, and when he found out he wouldn't be the owner, he tried to sabotage the business by spreading rumors. Since there was no employment agreement in place, we had no recourse to stop the rumors. A stay bonus plan that offered key employees money for staying and keeping quiet would have gone a long way. So this agreement, a stay bonus document, offers key employees compensation for staying with the business during transition as long as they don't disparage the company or leak sensitive information. Let's sum up. We've talked about the 5 steps of business continuity, including a living trust, business continuity instructions, adequate funding through term life insurance, a salary continuation plan, and a stay bonus with an employment agreement. You need all 5 steps. Maybe you have 1 or 2 of these steps in place. You need all 5 of these to have a complete business continuity plan. The good news is that none of the 5 recommended strategies have to be very expensive or time-consuming to put in place. We've created a page on our website where you can learn about each step and then have resources to implement them inexpensively and quickly. My goal is to make sure that what happened to George and Pam doesn't happen to you and your family. Next action steps for you, you can get our follow-up handout by texting 5 steps, FIVESTEPS, with no spaces, to 44222. That's text 5 steps to 44222. Or you can go right to our website at www.exitcoachradio.com and visit our free resources page. Click on the 5-step business protection plan and follow the steps. It's that simple. There's other resources at exitcoachradio.com you should know about. You can register for our next webinar, the 3-step business growth plan, where we'll talk about how to focus on the growth of your business in 3 simple steps. My book, 100 Words from 100 Advisors, is full of excerpts containing tips, ideas, and precautions from expert interviews I've done on the Exit Coach Radio show. It's available on Amazon, but if you go to the show notes that we're talking about here, again, we'll show you how to get that. You can get a 50% discount on the book. And you can visit the audio library, which is a compilation of hundreds of expert interviews that you can listen to on your smartphone while you exercise or drive. They're indexed into 12 categories. You just enter www.exitcoachradio.com from your smartphone browser. Again, we recommend the easiest way to get started is to text the words 5 steps, FIVESTEPS, with no spaces to 44222. Thanks for joining us for this very brief webinar. We hope you are happy with this information and that you implement it, because you're my hero, the private business owner, and I want to help you be well planned. Talk to you again soon.